Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name's James Whitcomb. I'm the candidate coach. Thanks for joining me today, wherever you're watching us, right around Australia and perhaps right around the world. We are going to be focusing today on cover letters. Today's session is how to write a knockout cover letter. Because a bit like in our resume session on Tuesday, you don't want to have just an ordinary resume, you want an awesome resume. You don't want to have an ordinary cover letter, you want a knockout cover letter. So, hopefully, over the next 30 minutes, you're going to learn a couple of tips, a couple of techniques to really improve your cover letter to make it one that is appealing during a competitive recruitment process. Because, regardless of how competitive it is in the market at the moment, whether you hear there's lots of jobs available, there's no jobs available, it is always competitive. It is always competitive. There are always other candidates who are going for the same job that you are. So you need to be putting your best foot forward at every single step of the journey. Now, we are coming to you live today. It is, what's today? It's the 9th of December, Thursday, the 9th of December. The Ashes are on. Thank you for turning off the cricket, or maybe you've got it on the background. There's nothing wrong with that. And we're going to have a great session this morning. As I said, because we're live, we're fully interactive. So if you are watching us on one of our partner sites today, you've got the chat function there. You can jump in and ask me any question that you've got about your cover letter. And do ask me as we're going along. We want this to be a live and an interactive session. If you've got a cover letter, if you've already got one that you've written, maybe have it with you. Maybe have it with you today. So as we're going along in the session, you can glance down at your cover letter and have a look. And see if the things that I'm talking to you about are relevant to you. Alrighty. Just before we kick off, though, a couple of housekeeping things. If I do drop off the line for any reason today and you can't see me, just hang out here. Stay here and I will rejoin. It doesn't happen very often, but 6 months ago, the internet dropped out once while I was broadcasting and I got kicked off the line. I was able to join back on via hotspot. Ask lots of questions, as I've mentioned, but also take lots of notes. So one thing that's really important when you're in a workshop or any learning environment is that when you hear something for the first time, you take notes. So take some notes today. Remember the things that really stand out from today's session so that you've got a really, good understanding in your mind about what you need to do to improve your cover letter. And at the end of the session, towards the end of the session, I'll actually ask, has anybody got any questions at all that you'd like to ask me? So it doesn't have to be just about cover letters. We will take questions with regards to resumes, interviews, whatever it is that you'd like to talk about. We are here today to help you. A little bit about me, James, your presenter and host. Well, I'm a director at Smart Recruitment, which is an agency based out of Melbourne, but with also an office in Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Woodford in regional Victoria. I've been working in recruitment since 2005. And over that time, I've conducted over 3,000 interviews, 600 face-to-face group assessments, placed over 1,000 people into jobs. And as I said on Tuesday, I've read well over 100,000 resumes. Now, not every resume has a cover letter with it. So I've probably read about 50,000 cover letters, I'd say. 50,000 cover letters in my time. So my coaching, my guidance, my suggestions for you today, and they are just suggestions. What I'm telling you is not the law, is coming from that background, coming from the background where I've read 50,000 cover letters. And I launched the Candidate Coach around about 2 years ago because we wanted to create a digital platform that was great for job seekers that can access content in your own time. Now, yesterday, as I mentioned, we had Tuesday, we had create an amazing resume. You can actually watch a replay of this on our YouTube channel. I'm actually going to copy and paste that link for you. I'm going to put it into the chat box. So if you missed Tuesday's session, you can go and watch it again. And in fact, you can watch all of our workshops on our YouTube channel. So copying and pasting that into the chat function for you to see now. Go away and watch it if you missed it on Tuesday. Or if you're just not sure if your resume is completely up to the mark. Okay, but today, cover letters. That's what we are here to focus on. So let me ask you a question, and please feel free to type your answer into the comments box here. Are you submitting a cover letter with every application? So for some of you, you won't have started making applications yet, but feel free to answer the question. Were you submitting a cover letter with every single application? Yes, no, or maybe sometimes. Maybe you've just been submitting a cover letter with some of the roles that you're applying for. I can see that somebody has already written no. And then with each cover letter, are you actually tailoring it? So if you are submitting cover letters, are you tailoring it for each specific vacancy, or are you sending out the same cover letter to every single job? Are you sending out the same cover letter to every single job, or are you tailoring it to specific vacancies? So we've got a mix of answers coming through. All right. I want to run a scenario past you. This is Joanne, and she's a recruiter, and she actually reads cover letters before she reads resumes. Now, Joanne is just one recruiter, and this is where it gets really hard for you when you're looking for work, because many recruiters will tell you, I don't read a cover letter. I'm not going to read a cover letter. Don't send me a cover letter. I won't read it. If that's the case, don't send a cover letter. They are not going to read it. You don't need to take the time to do it. However, I would say that 99% of the time, you don't know whether the person is going to read your cover letter or not. So I would say if you have not been, unless you've been told specifically not to submit a cover letter, you really need to do so. You really, really need to do so. So you could easily be applying to Joanne. You don't know who's on the other end of the line, but you might have a recruiter there, or a HR manager, or a business owner who loves cover letters and who actually reads cover letters before they read the resume. Now, if you were sending your application to Joanne and you had a really poor cover letter, or you didn't submit a cover letter, guess what? She might not even read your resume. She might not even read your resume. So you are taking a huge risk. You are taking a huge risk by either not submitting a cover letter or by having a poor cover letter. Because if you apply to someone like Joanne, they will read it to begin with. So as a job seeker, I always say you can only do two things in your application. You can submit a resume and you can submit a cover letter. So why would you skip? Why would you skip on doing the cover letter when you've got a limited opportunity to impress? So again, the answers to our questions need to be, are you submitting a cover letter with every application? Well, the answer is yes, unless you've been told not to. And are you tailoring each and every cover letter to make it specific to the vacancy? The answer again must be yes. The answer again must be yes. And that's what we're going to focus on today. How can we tailor each cover letter for each application in a way that makes us stand out, but also in a way that means you don't have to do 3 hours of work for every cover letter? I know that for most job seekers, they would like to do a cover letter and they would like to do a tailored cover letter, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. So today, I'm going to share with you my formula and my technique to help you create a great cover letter that you can reproduce quite easily for each application. Okay, so what actually are cover letters? Who actually knows what they are? Well, let's think about it. Firstly, a cover letter, we often forget about the second part of that term. It is a letter. And a letter you normally write to someone. Sometimes you might write it to an organization. You write it to somebody. So the language is different with cover letters. We use different language, certainly, to the way we write our resume. We personalize it. Even if we don't know the name of the person that we're writing to, we are personalizing it to talk about ourselves, to talk about the company, to talk about the job, to use the person's name if it's there, to use the company's name, to use the job name. We personalize it a lot. We need to do a lot of research before we send off our cover letter. We need to research into the company and into the position. You need to do that yourself to know, hey, am I actually interested in working for this company? Is this position interesting to me? You need to do some research before you decide to apply. But in your research, you can then use that to include that information in your cover letter. And it is only ever 1 page long, unless you've been asked to address a selection criteria. And the selection criteria itself is quite long. So if there's a really long selection criteria there and it says, please address the following, and it's maybe 10 things that you need to address, that's okay to go over 1 page. But unless it's a rare, and I will say rare, occurrence that you've been asked to do something like this, your cover letter is only ever a maximum of 1 page long. And you need to proofread it. You need to proofread it multiple times. I would say, I'm going to make a bold statement here, at least 1 in 3 cover letters have a mistake. At least. It might even be more. It might even be half of cover letters make a mistake. Now, the mistake is normally not a spelling mistake, because spell check and those types of things are normally very good at picking up spelling mistakes. The mistake is normally grammatical. So a wrong, it's a correct spelling, but it's the wrong word or it's the wrong tense. So you need to get somebody normally to read your cover letter for you to help you with that. So stop submitting the same cover letter for every vacancy. This is a huge mistake that candidates make, and it's the biggest cover letter mistake. You've written your cover letter, it says, "Dear Sir or Madam," and you send it off to every job. It looks really lazy. The recruiters don't like it. And you are competing with candidates who are personalizing and tailoring their cover letter. And if you want to get the job, you need to compete with them. You need to compete with them. So how do we do it? All right, here we go. Let's get into our lesson. A good cover letter looks like this. A good cover letter looks like this. 4 simple paragraphs. You are going to be surprised today at how easy it is to write a good cover letter, but it is only 4 simple paragraphs. So get your fingers out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 simple paragraphs to create a great knockout cover letter. And the first and the fourth paragraph are very straightforward. They're only going to take you 2 minutes. It's the paragraphs 2 and 3 where you're going to have to do a little bit of work. So paragraph 1, specifically address the role and the company you are applying to. 2 sentences should be enough. 2 sentences should be enough. So it would be, "Dear James," that's my name, "please find attached my cover letter for the sales representative position at Smart Recruitment." Name of the person, name of the company, job title. That's what you're doing here. Now, straight away, if you are going to that level of personalization, you are personalizing your cover letter and tailoring it more than most candidates already. Because most job seekers write, "Dear Sir or Madam, to whom it may concern." And you can do that if you like, but not if there's a name on the advertisement. And if there's not a name on the advertisement, I would encourage you to call the organization and just simply ask, "Who should I address my cover letter to?" If they tell you the name of the person, guess what? You might be the only person with a cover letter addressed to the person who's recruiting for the role. And when they open your cover letter and see that you've put their name in it, guess what? They're probably thinking, "Oh, how did this person know my name? This is impressive." So that's paragraph 1. Straightforward. Should only take you 2 minutes most of the time. Paragraph 2. This is where we start to do the work. We need to mention here 2 or 3 things that we know about the organization or the vacancy. 2 or 3 things here. Now, there's only one way to know here, and that is to do some research. Now, it's normally quite easy, if not very easy, for you to go and do some research into the organization. You can find their website, you can find their careers page, or for bonus points, maybe dig a little bit deeper, find some recent information about them in the news. Go onto their social media. Mention here something you know about the company. Mention something perhaps that you know or can find out about the vacancy. So paragraph 2, we are focusing on them, the company, the job. Then paragraph 3, we're going to focus on us. So we're turning the lens around to focus on us, and we are going to provide key skills or experience relevant to the advertisement or position. So the key thing is here is relevant. We want this to be relevant. Again, we can only mention 2, maybe 3 things here. So we need to pick the 2 or 3 things here that are relevant and that are going to really make us stand out. And this is why your cover letter needs to be tailored for every job. Even if you are only looking for a customer service job at the moment and you are applying for lots of different customer service jobs, if you can only mention a couple of key skills here, it's going to be different for each role because each role is looking for something slightly different. And then paragraph 4 is just a brief conclusion. So thanks for reading my cover letter. I hope to hear back from you soon. So as you can see, paragraph 1 and 4 really straightforward. Paragraphs 2 and 3 is where you need to go and do the work. Alrighty, I am going to provide for you now an example. Now, I don't want you to be intimidated by this cover letter. It's one that I've written to show you this format in a real cover letter. But I'm a professional recruiter who's been doing this for 15 years. But let me show you how it should sound. All right, paragraph 1. Dear Rupert, I'm writing to you as an enthusiastic applicant for the marketing coordinator vacancy with Duke Industries. So pretty straightforward, isn't it? We've got Rupert's name, we've got the job title that we're applying for, and we've got the company. But straight away, you can see it's quite specific. Quite specific, isn't it? We know here who this person is writing to. We know what they're writing about, and we know what they're writing for. So if I get a cover letter like this, straight away I'm thinking, great, this is a great first impression. You have tailored your cover letter. Even if you're not tailoring it any further than that, this is a really good first impression. So this is what you need to do at an absolute minimum is this first paragraph. All right, paragraph 2. So remember now we're going to mention some things we know about the organization and or the vacancy. And if it does look like I'm looking over here, that's because where my presentation screen is that I'm reading to you from. So I've long followed Duke Industries and was impressed to see them win an award at last month's National Marketing Awards. To be recognized for digital innovation is a great achievement. As a passionate marketing graduate, I've studied Duke Industries' graduate marketing program and impressed to see and am impressed with commitment to both technical and holistic learning. So that's paragraph 2. Now, paragraph 3, we're turning the lens to focus on us. So we need to mention a couple of key things here that make us seem really relevant to the job or to the position in terms of our background, our skills, and our experience. So whilst completing my master's in marketing last year, I was given the opportunity to work as an intern in the marketing department at Rosenberg and Associates. This 12-month placement included 4 rotations. However, it was digital marketing which I enjoyed the most. I worked with several of our top-tier clients and gained great exposure. I was awarded Intern of the Year from a pool of 20. So we've made our skills and experience really relevant to the job here. And then paragraph 4, a simple sign-off. I look forward to hearing back from you regarding my application. I'll be able to make myself available to meet at short notice. Kind regards, your name. So as you can see there, that cover letter looks really good. It sounds so specific, doesn't it? It sounds so tailored, but all we've done is just follow those 4 simple paragraphs. Now, if you like this template, you can actually download it from our candidate coaching platform. So where you're watching this today. Now, here is the same cover letter, but in a different template. So if you look here where my arrow is, from Dear Rupert down, it's the exact same wording, but we've put it into a slightly more graphically designed template. Up the top, we've got my name, perhaps title, and contact details. On the left, we've chosen to include a headshot, and then we've also got some information, a little bit of a profile here. So this is more of a modern layout of a cover letter. It's up to you. But again, you can download this one too from our candidate coaching platform. Whether you prefer this one with a little bit more graphic design and color, it's up to you. Or if you prefer the black and white one, it's your choice. It's your brand. Do what you feel comfortable with. So why am I asking you to do so much research? Why is research really important? Well, let me share a quote with you from well-known recruiter Stefan Wheelack, who popped this up onto LinkedIn early in the year. Stefan wrote, credentials on your resume will get you that first interview, but it's not the key to your next position. Looking at the people we recently hired or who will be joining us shortly, there is one thing they all have in common. They were uber prepared. They have dug deep into what we do and stand for. They impressed us with their understanding of our business and the problems we are trying to solve. Yet, not all of them were exactly what we were looking for. On the opposite side, I interviewed a candidate the other day who looked great on paper, but when I spoke with her, she had no idea what we were doing and said she'd only research a company once she lands an on-site interview. Well, it's Zoom these days. Though if you haven't spent any time researching our company, you're missing the mark. Now, here's the key paragraph, the last one. I understand doing research takes effort and you don't even know if it'll pay off. However, that's exactly what other applicants do to get the job, and they're the ones that you compete with right from the beginning of your application. So, if you don't want to do the research, that's fine. I can't make you. But as Stefan has said there, you are competing with candidates who do a lot of research. So, if you want to stand out, that's how you do it. All right, if you want more cover letter tips, I would really encourage you to go to our candidate coach page where you can watch episode 7, which is how to write a great cover letter. You'll see on the screen that there's 5 or 6 different recruiters that you will hear from. If you watch this video, they will give you their opinion on what you need to do to have a great cover letter. If you're still wanting more assistance, we've got a lot more content for you on our candidate coaching website, and we're popping it all up for you there now. We've got lots of video coaching episodes, lots of templates. We have interview questions, practice tests, articles, advice for executive job seekers, and a whole lot more. This is all available to you for free. I'd really encourage you to jump on there and to check out all the resources to make sure that you're best prepared to stand out when you are next going for a job. Now, upcoming workshops. So next week, the 14th of December, that'll be Tuesday. Be back here at 11 a.m. for the first of our 2 workshops when it comes to interviews. So interview preparation part 1, how to do the research and how to prepare to perform well. And then on Thursday next week, we're going to have a session solely focused on how to give great answers to interview questions. So wherever you're watching this today, be back here on Tuesday next week at 11, Thursday next week at 11 for our 2-part interview preparation workshops. But before you go today, we would love to get feedback from you. If you are watching this and you have enjoyed this, even if you haven't enjoyed this, we would like to hear from you. What would you like us to provide workshops on in the future? I'll drop this comment into the chat box for those watching on our partner sites so that you can click straight through that link and give us some feedback. And also, please do follow us on LinkedIn. We have a great community on LinkedIn, and we share all of our events, all of our upcoming features on LinkedIn as well. But in concluding today, I'd like to share a short video with you to make sure that you're looking after your mental health as a job seeker. At the end of this video, the workshop will cease. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back here next week.
If you're not feeling terrific at the moment and you feel like your mental well-being has taken a little bit of a dip, please remember this is not going to last forever. There's lots you can do to manage your mental health and get back on top of it. I am Dr. Sarah Barker. I'm a clinical psychologist. I've worked in workplace mental health with Black Dog Institute for the past 7 years. A lot of adults and young people, mainly with anxiety, depression, trauma as well, a range of issues, and many who are looking for work and undergoing that process of trying to find employment. Looking for work causes mental strain because our identity is tied up with our work. Work gives us meaning, it gives us purpose, it gives us company and connection. So it's stressful for lots of reasons looking for work, and it can take a toll on our mental health. It's really important important for us to be aware of the signs that our well-being and our mental health might be dropping. Probably the biggest sign is changes in behaviour. So that might be changes in the way we're thinking or talking to ourselves. We might be saying things like, who would employ me? I'll never get a job. We might be really down on ourselves and really hard and critical on ourselves when normally we're not so hard and critical. We might also, in our relationships, change our behaviour. We might be more snappy or more irritable with people that we love, that normally we might be a little bit irritable sometimes, but not irritable in that way. Losing interest in things that usually sparked us and ignited us and gave us joy. So perhaps usually we like walking the dog and suddenly we start thinking, I can't be bothered walking the dog today. That sort of thing, those changes in behaviour are really significant because they tell us that something's different, and if we're noticing, I suppose, more than one of those and it's affecting the way we feel, and this is over a period of say 2 weeks or longer, then it's a really good idea to have a chat to a GP that you trust, and find out what might be going on, have a discussion and see if there's any physical reasons for that, or if perhaps your mental health and wellbeing might be able to do with a little bit of extra support, and then the GP can refer you on to see a psychologist, a counsellor, whoever is most appropriate for you. There are so many great things you can do to look after your mental health when you're looking for work, and it's really important that you do. My very top tip would be really talking kindly to yourself and being compassionate with yourself. I think when we're looking for work, we can have a lot more questions like, will I ever get a job? Will I ever be employed? It can feel like this could go on forever. So being kind to ourselves and saying things like, it will work out. There will be a day, my efforts will be rewarded. It will just take time. I just need to keep trying. Reminding yourself of your strengths. And that might even be tapping into people you love and asking them what your strengths are, because sometimes it's harder to find them when our mood's a bit low and we're feeling more worried. We can be harder on ourselves. I think that routine is really, really important to our well-being. When we're looking for work, we mightn't have such a regular routine because there mightn't be a 9 to 5 start and finish time for a job. Well, there isn't. So instead, thinking about looking for work as a job in itself can be helpful. Having a start time and a finish time can be really helpful, and some set tasks that you hope to achieve that day. Purpose is really important too. So purpose might come through routine, but it can also come through other things. Meaning's really important, and our work gives us meaning. So when we're looking for work, meaning mightn't feel like it's there as much. Part of what we can do is infuse those tasks with meaning. So I am doing these things today, I'm looking for work, and that is meaningful in itself because there's an end goal to this. It will be something that's good for me and good for the people that I love as well. Some excellent resources for looking after well-being when looking for work are the Headgear app. The Headgear app is free, it's evidence-based, it's developed by Black Dog Institute, and it is fun to use. It uses mindfulness, so a technique to really help us relax and reduce physiological arousal, which can often occur when we're feeling anxious. It's got a 30-day challenge, which is just short, bite-sized little challenges to extend your well-being and grow your well-being, and that can be really extra important when we're looking for work. There are also some really terrific resources available through the Black Dog Institute. One of them is a beautiful self-care plan that encourages you to think about your top coping tips, the things that personally work best for you, that are positive coping strategies. Another really good resource is through Beyond Blue, and they've got some excellent resources to look after mental health while looking for work, and also when people are recently out of work as well. Probably time to seek professional assistance when you notice your mood is lower and you're feeling more down than usual, when you're worrying more and perhaps worrying excessively about things that you wouldn't normally worry about, and perhaps in your relationships too, when you're more tense with people and perhaps more snappy or irritable. All of these are signs that perhaps our mood is not in the greatest space, and our well-being is not in the greatest space, and that it can be a great idea then to chat to your GP, who can then refer you to an appropriate person to help you strengthen your well-being. It's very common for people to have a dip, but please know that that's not going to last forever, and that there's lots you can do through looking after yourself, but also through getting access to professional support that can really give you a boost again and get you back feeling good as you're looking for work.